You are listening to the Real Men Feel Show with your hosts Andy Grant and Appio Hunter. Real Men Feel is all about encouraging men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to opening up discussions that most men aren't having, but you certainly don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel podcast is produced live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for your growth and enjoyment. You can find more information about the Real Men Feel movement at realmenfeel.org. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at realmenfeel.org and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. This is a weekly program, and your comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in the Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show. Hello, and welcome to Real Men Feel. It is a pleasure to have you joining in today. This is episode 65, despite the fact that in the last show I kept saying it was episode 63, but it was actually 64, so today is 65, and like that freaking matters to anyone, even to me. I don't know why I'm pointing it out, but some bit of logic in my head. Again, like it matters to anyone. Regardless of what show this is, I am your host, Andy Grant. I'm an author, coach, and speaker. And I'm actually recording this. This is another impromptu show. It has been only 3 days since the last episode where I talked about feeling disappointed, explaining why Real Men Feel had been quiet for 9 weeks, and sharing my disappointment in myself, my choices, and my life. And so today is Friday, August 18th, 2017, and I'm actually just recently home from visiting my mother for a few days to celebrate her birthday. Because what mom doesn't want to spend time with their depressed, suicidal child to celebrate their birthday? And I'm making light of it and laughing there because it wasn't really that bad. And even in my worst feeling of times, it isn't 24/7, and it isn't every day, and it's. But I've been struggling for months now on a fairly regular basis, and but during that visit, even during these months, there were plenty of laughs. So it was really a good visit. I got to see other friends and family and go out and also talk a lot and cry a lot, but it was good. I felt a great relief and even reassurance, a connection with admitting to my mom and to my wife, how bad I'd been feeling, and that admitting that I was worried about myself, that I was going to do something, that I was going to harm myself. But it brought a great relief, and I even verbalized a fear I'd really been having, in the days leading up to seeing my mom, that I was just a tremendous disappointment to her. Because this shitty thinking returns, and it returns, and I judge myself for it. I think less of myself because of this negativity. The depression, the suicidal thoughts, the wanting to give up, to just give in, to just call it quits. It's draining. It feels horrible. It takes away my energy and my zest for life and my love of life. And it does all that because it's a lie, right? It doesn't, if dying was my solution, it would bring a sense of empowerment. It would be some sort of energizing force, but it's the opposite. And that's why, that's one of the many ways I realize it's not true. But anyway, admitting that to my mom and again, in sobs, telling my mom, who I love and who loves me, that I fear being a disappointment to her was really hard to say. And I'm sure it was painful for her to hear it. And she assured me that she's never felt that way in me ever, despite my muck. And anyway, we both felt better for the sake of having that difficult conversation, for being that open, that authentic, that sharing. I felt much better after those few minutes than I had during it. I felt much better after our visit than I did, headed down there. I headed down to her house with my wife, just feeling a lot of dread and just, feeling like I'm, again, this 13-year-old kid after my first serious suicide attempt, and just feeling completely lost and scared and confused, and knowing now I didn't want to die, but having no clue, what's wrong with me, if is something wrong with me, just no idea how to deal with it. So I had a great response to the last show where I impromptu shared everything. So that's why I'm doing this, and realizing that, again, I've realized this many times, but I don't always take the action. But the more I authentically, openly share, the better I feel. And since that's the case, I know in my heart and soul that there are others hearing this that need to hear this, that need to know that however horrible they are feeling, however sure they may be that suicide is their answer, it's not, just isn't. And if I can be some sort of guidepost, some sort of light that, despite how often that might show up in your life, it's not always going to be there. And despite it recurring, it doesn't mean that's the truth, right? It just means that me, and perhaps you, need to take a little more effort in living, right? In consciously choosing to stay despite how you might feel. And again, I find that sharing how I feel, even when it's hideous, there's a relief, right? There is a release, and there's a bringing together, and it just helps everybody. So that's why I'm here sharing more of what the hell's going on in me, right? Another big thing I've had to come to grips with is a lie of rationalization I told myself for many, many years. I've often said that suicide is not selfish. I've always seen it as more selfless, because every time I tried to end my life, I truly believed that my friends and family were going to be better off with me gone. I really believed that me being in their lives was more painful than my death would be. No, I certainly understood that, the news of my dying and killing myself would hurt people and inflict some pain, but I thought it would be gotten over quicker than knowing me, than day-to-day experiences with me. And my wife, my mom, again, sharing this fear, they've just assured me that they don't think that. They've never felt that way. And actually, the first time I heard this from anyone was, I think it was December of 2015, just the most recent time prior to this time of feeling really down, of feeling really suicidal. And, it was a coworker of mine that just said, like, dude, that's wrong. Like, even if I don't talk to you, I feel better being in the world knowing you're still in it. And again, I see this whenever anyone kills themselves, and it's a celebrity or it's a weird situation, and it makes the news. I hear the friends and the family and the fans sharing the pain, and so I'm dropping that rhetoric of rationalization that says anyone is better off with me gone. It's I'm going on the record of seeing that is just bullshit. That's a lie. It's a way to make my checking out easier on me, right? So that part is selfish, right? Choosing to lie to myself to make my demise easier is selfish. And that may be obvious to you. I don't think it's obvious to someone who is actively depressed or suicidal. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. Over the last, 3 or 4 months, even people that have reached out to me asking, about coaching with me, about wanting to have a call, want to have an introduction. I've canceled appointments. I've made up excuses. I've said no. I've just lost my dad. That kept me not seeing people, not talking to people for a while. But yesterday, someone scheduled a call, and yesterday was actually my mom's birthday, and someone had scheduled a call because I didn't block off my calendar and whatever. And the reason this person wanted to talk to me was, they said they had a dark night of the soul experience, depression and suicidal thoughts. And I wanted to cancel that call. I wanted to say, can't talk to you. I'm feeling the same way. You're on your own. I'm useless. Sorry, but no thanks. But I kept the call and we talked, and it was a freaking fantastic hour of conversation. This was someone I didn't know at all. They found me just from some internet searches online. It was just a fantastic call. We both felt so good during it and by the end. So many ahas. They were describing feelings that I had just been feeling the day before. Describing feelings that I had felt many times in my life. And for me to focus on them was such a gift. So there were a lot of ahas for both of us and a lot of laughs. It was really a fun call. So I wanted to share today three tools for dealing and shifting any negative thoughts you may have. And they don't have to be suicidal thoughts. It can be any thought you're having, any, feeling negativity, any heaviness that you feel like they don't serve you, anything that's just ruminating over, anything obsessive and bringing you down. I want to share some tools to shift that, because this is a vibrational universe. We are energetic beings. Our thoughts and our feelings are all energy, right? And energy, it really isn't good or bad. It just serves you, it helps you, or it doesn't. And, so-called negative thoughts and emotions feel heavy. They weigh us down. They can slow us down. They make life more difficult to move through, right? Whereas energy that serves you feels uplifting and energetic, and it just brings you a lightness, a happiness, and a joy, right? So the first tool when you are dealing with obsessive negative thoughts that you don't want to be having is pivoting. And I learned this from Abraham Hicks, and I talk about this a lot in my book, Still Here, How to Succeed at Life After Failing at Suicide. And pivoting is consciously choosing a different thought. It is using your power of free will, your beautiful, glorious power of choice, to choose a different thought, to choose a thought that feels better than the one that you're dreading, that the one that's having you sob, than the one that's having you judge yourself in a harsh, negative light. And, the first time you try this, it may just last a second. It may be 30 seconds that, wait, I'm gonna, instead of thinking about how much I want to die right now, I'm gonna try and remember my favorite Seinfeld episode, right? I'm gonna try to focus on, Kramer walking through the door and being an idiot and falling down, or lighting his hair on fire with a cigar, or hello, Newman, or anything, right? I'm going to think about am I sponge-worthy? Instead of why do I suck, they go, hey, am I sponge-worthy? And just shift that thought. And if it goes back after 30 seconds, it doesn't mean that doesn't work. It just means you need more practice. It's going to take effort. It's going to take your conscious choice to shift. But thought pivoting can be done by anyone at any time. And again, if your thought pivots right back, snaps right back like a rubber band to that negative outlook, to that obsessive thought, just do it again. It becomes easier with practice. Pivoting has been my go-to tool. And it's really just when I ignore it, when I don't do it for too long, that's when it becomes sometimes that's when the tool doesn't work as well for me. But that's the first one. Just I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to distract myself from all my bullshit by just, watching something funny on TV, or, watching a YouTube video full of, giggling babies, right? So countless ways to pivot, but it takes your conscious choice, and it will take effort because it's new. You are literally stepping out of the rut in your brain to get higher, to create a new pathway, to create a new thought, to have a new emotion from that new thought. Right? And you do have the power to do that. Beautiful. The second tool is witnessing. This means stepping back to observe your thinking as a neutral third party. Stepping back and seeing the big picture, as if you didn't know yourself. You just watch these thoughts that you're thinking about without feeling them. Just watch them. Right? And when you can do that with levity, when you can laugh at the foolishness of how miserable and wrong and distorted a thought you've been having, when you can step back and laugh at that, that's when you know you're really shifting. That's when you're really doing some healing. Because when you bring levity and laughter to thoughts that had been tormenting you, it's the best. That's when you're really shifting. When you can laugh at what moments ago felt like your own misfortune, it's a beautiful, different feeling. It's an uplifting feeling. I find the more you can make light of things that have been troubling you, the more in the light you are, right? So that's the notion of witnessing. Just looking with neutrality. And it helps you, it's always helped me to realize that I'm making life more difficult, more serious than it really is. Kind of the clearest thing I can remember is when I was like 19 years old, I got a flat tire. And I was just like, fuck, I got a flat tire, I should just kill myself. I should, instead of changing, I just jump on a traffic here. This is just horrible and ridiculous. And really, after just a few seconds of that, I'm just like, what the hell? I would be able to laugh at it, right? I could witness the silliness of that, right? I could witness the futile, desperate clinging to just some reason to condemn myself, and it was just silly, right? So that's witnessing, stepping back, seeing the big picture, looking at your thoughts without feeling them, right? Being separate from that energy, just almost observing yourself as a scientist, right? And just like, oh, fascinating! What a ridiculous thought that is, huh? Right? How unserving is that mental energy that I've been exercising, right? So the third tool to deal with suicidal thinking or negative thinking, obsessive thinking, is expression, right? Thoughts and energies that you keep to yourself, that you keep thinking about, ruminate in your brain. When we keep asking, why am I doing this? And how did that happen to me? And all that self-judgment, that self-analysis feeds that negative thinking, feeds that energy, and it just bounces around your head over and over and over, becomes more obsessive, and leads to you feeling horrible, can lead to you making really poor decisions, taking actions that don't serve you at all. But when you release those thoughts through expression, through open, authentic sharing in a safe environment, sharing it with someone you trust, a friend or a family member, a loved one, a coach or a therapist, a clergy member, an anonymous mental health hotline can just be a place like, you can just release everything that you feel is hell within you, right? All that negativity, all that self-judgment. Get it out, right? Give it to someone else. Not give it to them, but by sharing it, it relieves it. It stops that rumination. All you need is someone that can listen. Hold space and listen. They don't have to say anything back to you. It's just, like for me to admit to my mom my fear of disappointing her, she didn't have to say anything. She just, by not running away, by not going, yep, you're right, you're a horrible disappointment. By that not happening, that's the release. That's all that needed to happen, right? When you can authentically share something that has been tormenting you and the world doesn't end, when the person doesn't walk away, the person doesn't laugh in your face, the person doesn't hang up on you, that's all you need, right? So that's expression. And if you don't feel that you have a safe place, a safe person to do that with, you can try just saying it out loud and screaming it. The primal scream therapy. and just let it out. Talk, scream how shitty everything is and how you just want to freaking die if that's what it is. But get it out. Instead of keeping it as mental energy, let it out. You can also journal and write it down. Write down all the reasons everything stinks. Write down all the thoughts and, set it on fire, crumble it up, rip it up, destroy it. You can energetically shift that by giving expression to that energy, to those thoughts. And that's the idea behind this. You can also take a more creative role and paint and sculpt and create, or go dig or chop down a tree. Use all this energy to express it in a physical way, in a creative way, an artistic way, a verbal way, a written way. Countless ways to express. But when we keep that negativity, when we keep that self-judgment, when we keep asking, why is this happening to me? Why do I suck so bad? Why is everyone... Your brain's job is to answer those questions, and your brain will work really hard to find answers that tell you why you suck, that tell you why death is the best option for you. And your brain will lie, right? Your brain doesn't really know the truth. But expressing yourself, getting it out of you, will make you feel a lot better. And you're worthy of it. And people sharing from their depths has created some tremendous stories and poetry and art and connection and awareness and bonding and podcasts, right? So be willing to share of yourself. That's when openness and authenticity really, really serve you. It's got to be a safe place. You don't want to do this to someone that is going to judge it, throw it back in your face, or not be able to receive it, right? So, I used to think that suicidal thinking kept returning to me because I'm supposed to act on it, right? I'm supposed to end my life. That's the sign. That's the meaning of this returning in my life over and over. But maybe suicidal thoughts return because I'm supposed to share and discuss them, right? Thereby helping myself and others. But by doing this, I'm utilizing all three tools. I'm forced to pivot my thoughts when I go from just rumination to, wow, how can I share this? And it requires some witnessing of what's going on and catalog my thoughts and recognize what tools am I using to help myself. And then, of course, this is all an expression, right? And one of the best ways to feel better about you is to focus on someone else, right? That's why Boy Scouts help old ladies cross the street, right? And any bit of service for someone else takes the focus off of you. And when you're focusing on you in a negative way, putting the focus on someone else can really help, right? But then I thought, well, maybe there's no supposed to. Maybe I'm attempting to put all this meaning on these things that just isn't there. Maybe realizing that those dark, destructive thoughts and feelings, keeping those a secret, realizing that makes me feel bad, realizing that causes my own misery to last longer, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the supposed to, right? While realizing that being open and authentic and sharing with you what's going on for me to benefit both of us is the point. Maybe always choosing what feels best is what we're all supposed to do. Maybe that's the true message. That's what I'm going to choose. All right, that's the outlook and interpretation I'm going to choose. Choose what has you enjoying life the most. I do believe that life is meant to be simple and life is meant to be enjoyed. And the thoughts that take me away from that don't feel good because they're a freaking lie, right? And bringing that lie into the light, via pivoting, via witnessing, via expression, helps it dissolve. So here's to all of our miserable ruminations of negative judgments and thinking, and not seeing the beauty, the wonder, the miracle that we all are. Really take a moment to just ponder everything that needed to happen for you to be born. everything that needed to be happening in perfect alignment for you to keep breathing in this moment, right? Let the fact that you're here be all the proof you need that you're meant to be here still, right? The ultimate evidence that I'm not supposed to have killed myself is that I'm still alive, right? We're all still here. And being here can be much more enjoyable, right? If we don't ruminate, if we use these tools, use other tools, use whatever serves you. Again, pivot your thoughts, witness your thoughts, and express yourself. All right. I think that's all I've got for you tonight. Real Men Feel will be live again with Appio, with a guest, on Tuesday, August 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can be part of the live show by joining us at realmenfeel.org/show. I thank you for listening. I hope this doesn't resonate to you, but I doubt you've made it this far if it didn't resonate to you. And if it does resonate, I hope some of the tools I share, I hope by being an example of getting through our own personal shit without cutting our throats, serves you in some way. And I'm glad that I can be any sort of a guide, any sort of a light in helping you feel better and navigate your life or a loved one's life or deal with whatever may be going on with you. And so thanks for listening. Visit realmenfeel.org. Check us out on Facebook. Send us some feedback. And as always, please be good to yourself. Be well. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org, join the Real Men Feel group on Facebook, and share what you thought of this show. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com and Appio Hunter at appiohunter.com.